Ideas All Day, a podcast where we, not experts, say our ideas and put them into piles. The good ideas pile, the bad ideas pile, and the middle ideas pile. Just the ideas pile. What we're talking about today is child rearing. And this is from three people who are not parents. We don't have any children. So
really without child.
We are without children.
Childrenless, one might say.
Childrenless, as he said. So I was thinking that we can go around and say, how much child rearing experience have we had? So Kate, how much child experience have you had?
Considering I am the youngest child in my immediate family, I never had to do younger sibling diaper changes or babysitting. I have some younger cousins, but I never really babysat them. I would say the majority of my child rearing experience would probably come from my time when I worked as a behavioral health worker in an elementary school, and that was for about 4 or 5 years. And that was with kids with behavioral disorders or were on the autistic spectrum. So that would be the bulk of my child rearing experiences, just working in a inner city school with kids with behavioral problems. So that's my experience.
Okay, so not full time, but a chunk of time.
Yeah.
Alex, what was yours experience?
Again, I just like Kate, I'm actually the youngest of 2 children, so I really don't have a lot of child rearing experiences, but I do have a few nieces and nephews, and obviously I've been around them as they were growing up, so I guess intermittently just the time I spend with them when they were kids, when they were younger, would be the bulk of my experience.
So besides the child that lives next door, my experience with children usually comes from 10 years as a teacher naturalist doing environmental education. So for not just children children of all ages. I worked with, toddlers through adults.
Before we even start, can I just say, based off of our experience, this is going to be an interesting episode. None of us are parents. None of us work with kids full time. So remember, we are not experts.
Or parents.
Or parents.
Or parental experts.
Or have extensive experience taking care of children.
None of our really ideas have ever been tested, possibly.
That's what makes them revolutionary.
Yes. Exactly. But if anybody's tested our ideas, whatever they are, please let us know, because...
Don't sue us.
Yeah. Or don't do it if it sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah.
We'll find out now.
Or even a good idea. Just don't do it.
This is on your discretion. Like, we're not telling you to do any of this. But if you do, please share it on our Instagram at Ideas All Day Podcast.
But just for legal sense, we're explicitly telling you not to do any of these, no matter what they are. For legal reasons, we have to say this. We don't want to get sued.
Yeah, don't sue.
For my first idea, so your kid is really fast a lot of times. So I'm a big fan of leashes for kids, leashes for children. Because I've seen these for preschoolers to keep them all in a line where they're holding a ring and they're tethered to another child. So they're holding on. They're choosing to be a part of the line. I've seen that type of leash. I don't know, but how about the retractable leash? I feel like that would allow your child some leeway back and forth if you had a retractable leash. That's my first idea. It beats having your kid run out into the street at a moment's notice because they saw something shiny across the street. It's like talking to myself here. That's pretty much, I would probably need a leash.
Did your mom put a leash on you when you were a child?
I probably got leashed. So that's my first idea. My second idea comes from a video that I saw of a dog pushing buttons that said words. So he pushed a button that said the word want, and then he pushed another button that was food, a ball, was like want ball. I was like, oh, that'd be really cool if you could have buttons that you pushed that said words for giving objects to your child, especially when they're like babies, to like associate them with the word as you're giving them ball. Hit the button, ball. And then if it's like food or something, you hit the button and here's the food that I'm giving to you. And so the baby can associate the word with the sound and the action. That aid in communication when they're super, super young. I don't know if it'll work. I don't know how smart babies are. That's my second idea, are word buttons. All right, my third idea is to walk like a quadruped, necessarily walking bipedally, but just walking quadrupedally. So making it seem like that's the normal way of walking around is by either crawling or quadrupeding. Don't let the bipedals try to tell you what to do. This is a two-legged world. The four-leggeds will have the advantage. That's it. That's my second idea, is to walk like a quadruped. My fourth idea is earplugs, because children are loud, and also in order to communicate, teach and learn sign language yourself. So they can communicate to you if you can't hear them with the earplugs, and then you can communicate to the child. So then you're not necessarily hearing all the loud sounds that could be super, super loud, because, man, kids are loud. That's my fourth idea. Ooh, my fifth idea. Adults should learn how to play when rearing a child, because a lot of times children have so many toys that you hardly ever see them playing with the toys that they have so many of. And it's hard with all those choices to necessarily choose one to play with. So I feel like adults should, instead of expecting kids to play with all the toys they have there, they should also learn how to play themselves, so they can not only play with the child to teach interactions, but also just have fun. God, a sixth idea is, before communicating with somebody or the child, if you're an adult, take a breath before you say the thing that you're going to say. Because if it's something that was about to said to the child that is like out of anguish or like frustration or a thing, it could come out in a different manner. But you can also, if you take a breath before saying something, it gives you time to think about your reaction. And those are my ideas.
So, Ajax, for your first idea of leashes for kids, I am going to put this in the, as you put it, the middle idea road, going towards bad, because I'm not putting in even, I can't put in the bad idea because there's a utility to it, because there's a lot of parents that have unruly kids and they have to kind of keep it under control. So I understand why they exist. There's a market for it. I get it. But I hate leashes for kids. I hate them so much. I hate them so much. It's like, God forbid this kid ever has pictures of him with a leash on where he has no idea what this means. He's just like, whatever, I'm just out doing my thing. And mom or dad's behind me just tugging me along or making sure I don't run in the road. But he's going to be like, when he's 18 years old, they're showing his fiance or something baby pictures on with a leash with a little helmet on so he doesn't fall over and break his skull. I can't. I hate.
So he doesn't break his skull? That just sounds like he's being really protected.
Yeah. Okay. Like I said, they have a use. They are functional, which is why I'm not putting in the bad ideas pot. I just hate them so much. I
love it when you hate things
so much.
Great.
But they have a use, so I can't completely put them in the bad ideas. They have to go somewhat in the middle road.
It sounds like there's pictures of Alex wearing a leash.
I know. I feel like we hit a point.
There isn't. There's worse pictures.
Alex's family. If you have photos of Alex,
we want to see Alex.
Oh, there's worse.
Post it to our Instagram.
There. I can guarantee you, there's, because when we were kids, the leashes didn't exist. They did not exist. That's something that came about in like late 90s, early 2000s or whatever. But there's no pictures. There's other worse pictures, but there's not leash pictures. For your second idea, your child button communication idea, this is a good idea. I mean, I got nothing wrong with any form of early nonverbal communication. A lot of people teach this kind of stuff, whether it's sign language or like pointing at pictures or stuff like that. It's always a good idea because it helps build communication that much earlier in life. So 100% good idea. No questions.
Wow.
And then we come on to your third idea. Let's all walk like a quadruped, as you put it. I don't even know what you were talking about. I mean, I just like
Walk on all fours.
I know what you meant. Why? Why would you do this?
Why not?
At all times to have you and your kids walking on no. This is just no.
You're just no fun.
This is just straight in the
This is
bad
a way to
ideas
start
pile.
over, okay, Alex?
Actually,
you can start over.
No. I'm gonna create another new extra pile called the WTF pile, and it's going into that one because I don't know what the hell you're talking about or what you're doing with this, but it's going in that pile. So
we have to add this pile to our piles now.
I'm creating this little pile. It's underneath the bad ideas pile. It's where I had to like dig a hole through the other bad ideas, found the ditch that's underneath it. That's that pile. So it's still in there. It's still in the bad ideas pile, but it's just got its own little special place just for it.
Wow. Nice. I'm so excited. It's got its pile in a pile.
Exactly. It's a VIP pile, calling it the WTF pile.
I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Oh, the pile.
On to your fourth idea, the earplugs. Now, was the earplugs for the kids or the parent? I didn't have that question. The parent. Okay. So in that situation, I originally thought it was earplugs for the kids.
Oh, that's a good idea too.
No, that's even worse. I put that in the bad ideas pile. I still have to put this in the bad ideas pile for safety concerns. Because yes, children make a lot of noise. They're really loud. But when there's crying or pain involved, you kind of have to be able to listen. I hate to say it, but that verbal communication of some way, shape, or form is how they alert you when something's wrong. So I have to put in the bad ideas pile.
Can you put it in the WTF pile?
No, because it makes sense. There's a utility for it, but it's still a bad idea for safety concerns.
Fine.
So no, it does not get the coveted WTF pile. Then your fifth idea of adults playing too. I mean, yeah, this is a good idea. Engaging with your kids, with their games, with their toys, being right there, whether it's on the floor with them or playing a game with them. That's nothing but a good idea. It not only builds trust between parent and child, but also helps build communication and social skills. Great idea. And then your last idea of taking a breath before you speak or yell. I'm going to put this in the ideas going towards good. Because, again, nothing wrong with it, taking a breath beforehand. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to have that gut reaction. You got to put the fear of God into them. And having that gut reaction still is a good thing. Because sometimes they deserve the yell. So I can't put in the 100% good idea, but it's getting there. It's getting there.
Because you just want to yell.
Yeah, I like yelling at kids. That's the reason. Just like
yelling. To get off your lawn.
Yeah, get off my lawn. Get off anything on my property, really. And just stop being annoying. That's all.
Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome.
All right, so I should probably do my pilings. Leashes for kids. Retractable leashes. This is a hard one for me because there is an embarrassment factor for not only the child, but for the adult. The child, at least, is probably too young to realize, like, oh my God, I'm being treated like an animal. But on the flip side, it is just something to keep the kid safe and keep track of the kid. I'm going to put this in the ideas pile, just simply because I can see this better for, say, like grandparents compared to parents. So if you have someone who's older trying to keep tabs of a rambunctious toddler or younger kid, that might be easier for grandpa, grandma, elder to do than, say, the actual kid's parent. But I've seen these. There's a market for them. So I can't be saying it definitely wouldn't work. But yeah, so ideas. Push talk buttons for kids. I'm going to put this in the ideas pile. I mean, there are similar things out there like the flashcards and the picture things, and some people actually teach their kids sign language when they're young, just a few words like food or poop or whatever. It's another way of communicating, which isn't bad. I'm just concerned that maybe that kid will then, I don't know, like socio development, if that kid will then sort of use these push talk buttons as a crutch. And then the thing is, as the kid grows in vocabulary, do you get more buttons, or I don't know.
Or you could talk yourself. I mean, you can learn how to talk.
Yeah.
And more buttons is more good.
I mean, who doesn't like buttons?
I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't really talk until like first grade. So
Then you teach them how to spell by pushing the buttons, and you're teaching them how to type when they're already 2.
they had those little talk boxes. Let me go to your third idea, walk like a quadruped. I don't understand why this would be beneficial. Like it's a lot of work walking on all fours. Like,
Yeah.
Animal Flow has taught me like that's not an easy thing. Bear crawls, not easy. So I'm going to put this in a bad ideas pile. There's no real benefit unless if you're using it as like a training to get stronger.
Not the WTF pile, though?
No. F that pile. It's in the bad ideas pile.
How dare you? How dare you? I mean, yes, it is in the bad ideas pile. That's the whole point.
I'm not creating a new pile for that. That's not. If I didn't create a new pile for any of your electric shock things, then that doesn't get a new pile.
Then you missed a trick. That's all it is.
Yeah, that happens.
They're so shocking.
Anywho, number 4, earplugs / sign language. For the sign language, this is a good idea. Another form of communication is always good, especially in situations where your kids need to be quiet and they can still actively communicate with you. The earplugs is going in the bad ideas pile. As someone who is chronically anxious, like I need to hear, like I can't not hear what's going on. That would just make me even more anxious. And the one way my parents would always tell that me and my brothers were up to no good was when shit was quiet. Because if it was quiet, we were up to no good.
What were you doing?
God only knows. Putting clothing on the cat, or
But you were having a good time. That was not bad.
Playing with matches, or doing something we weren't supposed to be doing. If we were quiet, they knew we were up to no good. So earplugs, I would say, bad idea. Adult play, yes, I think this is a great idea, especially if you have a child who, if you're a household that has one child, so the child has no siblings to play with, you know, someone has to play with your kid when they're at home, so you should be that person. So yes, playing with your child, good idea. Take a breath before talking to a child. I'm going to put this in the good ideas pile. It's hard. It's not easy. As someone worked in a school setting, sometimes kids are very overwhelming, and sometimes they do something to piss you off, and you just have that knee-jerk reaction. I had a client once tell me that I was bitch, and at the time, I was really into your mom jokes. So the kid said, "Oh, Miss Kate, you're a bitch." And I was like, "Your mom?" And he's like, "My mom what? My mom what? My mom what?" Thank God he interrupted me, because I was able to stop and be like, "Your mom's going to be very disappointed when she hears you using that kind of language, compared to being, your mom's a bitch. Mom would have come up and kicked my ass if
Did you say that to her?
What?
Did you say that to the child?
I was going to say your mom's a bitch because I was in your mom joke phase, but luckily he interrupted me and I was able to say, your mom's going to be very disappointed if she hears you say that kind of language.
That's so professional.
You're the adult. You're supposed to be one showing control and restraint, and you're the role model for the child. So if you're going to be losing your shit, flying off at the handle, that's just showing the kid losing your shit and flying off the handle is an appropriate response.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Great.
No, you can thank me. You can thank me. It's okay. All right. I guess I'm next for my amazing parenting, child rearing ideas that are all make perfect sense. My first idea is imaginary friends. Basically, what you want to do is kind of raise your child early on, encourage them to develop imaginary friends. So that way, when you're not around, or if you have to do other things in the house, they've got a companion, they've got someone to watch out for them, and they've got someone to make sure they're taken care of when you're not there. And they're free. It's a win-win for everybody. Now, for my second idea is actually borrowing from a really old idea, something that occurred back way in like the 17 or 1800s. And that is to ask for help from the mailman. So way back when, you could actually mail your children. You would put a stamp on them and you could mail them to grandma's house. But we're doing something a little bit different. No, we're going to mail the kids, stick a stamp on them, but you mail them to your own house, but they've got to complete their whole route nowadays. You got to bring them, get them on the truck, bring them out to like the facility. They stay there in their little ball pit that the mail, I assume the post office has to keep people happy. And then they mail them back by the end of the day. They're taken care of. They have fun. While they're in the truck, they can learn shapes, specifically squares and rectangles, maybe some like cylinders if they want to help out if they're old enough. So they have hand-eye coordination and motor skills. So it's all good things. And obviously, who knows? Maybe the mailman's their real dad too. You don't know nowadays. So it could be time with dad or mom. We're not going to be sexist here about our postal workers.
Got it. Mail your kids.
Mail your kids. Now for my third idea. This is a very more of an educational one. And this is what you want to do is you want to drop your kids off at IKEA for the day. Not only is IKEA a large facility capable of handling multiple people, I mean, they see people come and go all the time, but the kids can learn not only about their shapes, but also how to put things together because they can help us set pre-assembled furniture for IKEA. It's already hard enough, so it's a little bit more difficult than normal, kind of like put your, build a tower of blocks or put the little blocks in the hole. But you know what? The more they do it, the better they're going to get at it. And hey, IKEA's aren't getting paid for this, but they're not paying the kids either, so it all works out. It's a win-win for IKEA. It's win-win for the parents. And then for lunchtime, they get to have meatballs. Who doesn't love meatballs? So that was idea number 3. For my fourth idea, I'm going to have you kind of step back and take a picture of a certain situation. Imagine you're a single parent. You get home from work and you're just had a bad day and your kids are just being monsters. And you almost kind of wish you could just snap your fingers and they would just stop what they're doing and listen. And that's why my fourth idea is hypnotism. So basically what I'm saying is you have them, a professional hypnotist, hypnotize them with certain commands, either a snap of fingers, certain words, so that not only do they, when it's appropriate, kind of snap to attention, but also listen to instructions because obviously you want to help them out and you want to help calm them down and make sure they clean their damn room because they're not doing anything. And now the place is a gosh darn mess. No one's doing it. So you've got to take the extra step. And hypnotism might be the way. And then you can make them do a funny dance so they don't realize it. Now for my fifth idea, it's also another idea actually borrowing on a historical concept. But this one's really not even the 17 or 1800s. We're going back to BC times. Because what I'm saying is we need to reestablish a Spartan child rearing society. Now, what that involves is after the mother has a child, and once they're old enough that they no longer need to breastfeed, so they're old enough to just kind of stand on their own a little bit, they're immediately taken away and placed in a house with other children that age. And they're raised together with other kids in this house in a very strict environment, usually by a nanny. There is no parental contact whatsoever, but they all are treated the same. And as they grow up, they learn survival skills, they learn how to take care of themselves, and they learn discipline. And ultimately, they eventually have mastered those survival skills because if they don't, they will probably perish during the trials when they're left out naked in the forest at one point.
You didn't talk about the trials to begin with.
Well, we need a stronger society, so we need to build it builds character. And if they survive, you know they're going to be successful as they get older. We need Spartan style child rearing. And last, but certainly not least, one of my favorite things, something that I think we can all agree on is always a great idea, and that is papooses. More papooses. We need everyday papooses. It's not just for traveling and nomadic societies. It's about, oh, I've got a child and gotta go to work, but I don't have a babysitter. You got a papoose, don't you? Strap them in, bring them to work. They're happy. Just so you know, it does not stunt their ability to learn how to walk when they're really young. You could have a child in a papoose for months and they would still learn how to walk just fine. And as they get older, you just get bigger papooses until they're of the age where they can walk and take care of themselves a little bit more. Also, I want to add that I've got a fever, and the only prescription is more papooses.
Kate is so impressed right now.
I know. Kate's super excited about these ideas.
Let me go first with the pilings. Idea number 1, imaginary friends. As the youngest in the family and having nothing but brothers, I often had to play with myself because my brothers would not be caught dead playing with Barbies. So, for the most part, they were basically my imaginary friends. I turned out okay. So I would say this is an idea leaning towards good. It doesn't hurt for a kid to imagine what another person perspective would be regarding a situation that they're playing in at that time. Yeah, ideas leaning towards good. Asking help from the mailman. I'm going to put this in the bad ideas pile, simply because I know a lot of mailmen. My dad was a mailman, and I can't imagine that group of people who are already overworked and underpaid and having to also transport children around in their truck that some of them don't have any heat or air conditioning. So, yeah, no. And also, as a child, I was super motion sickness. So, throwing me in the back of a mail van would not end well for any participant. So, bad idea. Leave the kid.
Your dad was even a mail carrier, and you turned out just fine. You're still calling this a bad idea. That's hard.
I never went to take your daughter to work day. I wasn't allowed in the truck. Idea number 3, leave the kid at IKEA for a day. This is kind of child labor, so I got to put it in the bad ideas pile just for that. But if you're taking your kid supervised to IKEA, I think this is a good idea. Because not only are you learning shapes and colors, and it's huge. It can take the whole day. It's like a little museum in itself. But there's also all of the Swedish culture you can learn and all the Swedish words. And you can make like a scavenger hunt out of it. And it's like a cheap way of entertaining a kid for a couple hours.
I'd like to think it's not child labor, but more volunteer work. It's building character.
It's child labor.
I like how our big educational things are shapes today. You know what? They can learn shapes.
You know what's important for kids? Shapes. You know how many kids I know today that don't know what a polygon is? It's just upsetting.
Upsetting.
Let's not even talk about rhomboids here.
No, don't get me started about rhomboids. But yeah, it's bad idea because of child labor. But like I said, if you were to do it supervised, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Your 4th idea, hypnosis. Now, I'm going to put this in the good ideas pile. And the reason I'm putting this in the good ideas piles is that there are teachers that kind of use this method the way you described it. Like their class is getting unruly and the teacher has trained them that like clap, who's in charge here? And all the kids just sit down immediately and go like the Queen of England or whatever. It's a thing you can do with kids. It's like a conditioning. You can condition
the kids.
And also hypnosis has like this like magical quality to it, and kids love that kind of shit. Kids want to believe that kind of stuff, and half of hypnosis is believing that it actually works. So this is a good idea. I've known parents that have said, like, when they know their kid's lying, they say like stuff like, "Oh, your eyes are turning purple. I know you're lying." The kid can't see their own eyes, so when they're young, like they don't know to look in a mirror, and they know, "Oh, I can't lie to mom. She knows when I'm lying because my eyes turned purple," and it prevents them from lying to their mother. So yeah, good idea. Doesn't hurt anyone. Speaking of not hurting anyone, Spartan child rearing. The way you described it, I'm going to put that in the bad ideas pile. But we basically kind of do this already. Kids go to, well, not right now, but kids typically go to school for 6 to 7 hours a day with other kids the same age without their parents, getting treated all the same. But then they get home and then they're treated however they want by their parents. And then there was the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, and kind of outdoor activities where you would learn survival skills and test your knowledge and stuff like that. I'm putting in the bad ideas because I don't want any kids to die or be completely removed from their parents. But like I said, we do a watered down version of it already. And then your last idea, papooses. Yeah, I have no problem with child carriers. I just don't think you should sleep in one that is mounted to a wall. But like their actual purpose for carrying children is perfectly fine. I mean, it keeps your hands free. It balances out the weight, so it's easier to carry the kid, especially when they start getting bigger. Though I love your neighbor's kid because I can Arnold Schwarzenegger pick him up with one hand and do the "Who is your daddy and what does he do" speech to him.
Good.
And then he goes, "Daddy's like right there," and I'm like, "Yeah, but all right." Then put him down, and then curl him with the other hand.
You just want to curl children.
It's a lot of fun. I'm not gonna. I feel superhuman when I can pick up a human by their shirt and bring them up to my eye level like a movie. That's very empowering. And then imagine having like 2 kids strapped onto you, one in the back, one in the front. That's kind of empowering. So
Then you have 2.
it's like you're making yourself an Allen. So since you're making yourself an Allen for children, it's a good idea.
All right.
I'll take it.
Okay. So for my pilings for Alex is imaginary friends. I mean, there's nothing wrong with imaginary friends. But for the right now, I'm putting this in the ideas pile because if your child is talking to the imaginary friend, it could get kind of creepy. Like if they're sitting there in the corner and they're talking to their imaginary friend and it seems like they could be talking to that, or they could be talking to a real person and it's like a real ghost person over there, then I'd be highly concerned. Like if you're training your children to talk to ghosts, I mean, I love ghosts, don't get me wrong, but I don't trust them. I don't trust the ghosts. I'm putting this in the good ideas pile just because you don't know what kind of ghost you're going to get.
It went from ideas to good ideas because of ghosts.
No, went to ideas pile because of ghosts.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what kind of ghost you're calling in on that one. They could be evil ghosts.
Okay.
I will make a note. I did have a friend of mine, and when he was a kid, he had an imaginary friend that apparently tried to kill him. So that's why I'm still sticking by my idea, because that was just a one-off.
Okay, all right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's why it's only in the ideas pile.
Maybe don't imagine your friends are trying to kill you.
No,
Maybe don't do that.
I think they had a falling out.
It happens.
They could have. Your second idea, asking for help from the mailman or just mailing your child and putting them in the mail truck, carrying them around for a little bit. I mean, I was thinking about this. I'm like, what if everybody was doing this? There'd be like boxes and boxes of kids inside of the mail truck, and that would be the worst car ride in the world. So this is going in the bad ideas pile because I don't want to be that mail carrier.
Why are
No,
you
thank
putting
you.
the children in boxes?
Because how else are you
so
going to
cruel.
get them? We're
You
going
just stick them in the truck.
You just put them on people's laps with some
Yeah.
puppies and candy.
Yeah.
Well, with all the letters, I mean, you ever drive by a mail truck? There's no room for childs.
Bigger trucks.
All of them. All right. So if you're making this, I mean, if you're making this bigger trucks and it's bigger infrastructure to be able to handle your,
Yeah.
I mean, like what other amenities are we looking at?
Amenities.
Yeah, like how are,
They're only there for a few hours at a time. Come on.
all right. Okay, so this is still a bad ideas pile because you didn't have any amenities.
They get 4 wheels and a truck. They can deal with it.
So your third idea, dropping off at IKEA. I think it's an idea, and my reasoning is because I love IKEA. I think IKEA is so great, and I love the meatballs, and it's delicious. And you just like to go hang out in all the rooms and all the shapes you can learn. Jeez.
Just to let everybody know, we're not being sponsored by IKEA. By IKEA, if you want to sponsor us, please reach out to us at ideasalldaypodcast@gmail.com.
Or send us
Yeah.
meatballs. That's okay too.
Or just send us meatballs.
Just send
in
us
mail,
meatballs. They're delicious.
delivered by children in papooses.
Yes. Will work for meatballs.
It's true. But I also did like the scavenger hunt idea. I thought that was a good idea too. But my biggest concern is if I was a person working at IKEA and if people were just dropping off their kids there, I would despise going to work because you'd be like finding snacks everywhere, meatballs in the sheets, and it will just be like the worst surprise cleanups in the world.
And kids could get hurt easily at
No.
IKEA. There's too many
finding
falling
limbs?
things. There's too many things to climb. There's too many things to fall down from. It would definitely have to be a supervised event.
So
No.
that's an idea. Hypnotism, that's a good idea. I like hypnotism. Nothing wrong with it. If it works, it works. Spartan child rearing. Since this was an activity that was done in the past, I will put it in the ideas pile. Not necessarily, it's not a good ideas pile. This is definitely not a good idea right now. No, I wouldn't do it. But it's an idea. Somebody did it before.
Yep, it worked for them. Why
And
can't
I
it work for
have no
us?
information of how it works in the past, or like what the actual result is. So I don't even know if it was a good idea back then either. How many generations were raised that way? Was it sustainable? I don't know. That's an idea. Ideas pile. And in your last idea, papooses. This is so funny because on my way, I was driving into work today, and I was thinking like, what kind of ideas can we have for kids? I was like, papooses would work for this one too. So I'm going to agree with you on this one that papooses is a good idea. And to finish my pilings, I'm going to say no.
No to papooses?
No.
No papooses on the walls.
Not once was papooses on the walls ever mentioned by me. Not once. You guys brought that up. Don't stick that one on me.
We know how much you love papooses on the wall.
Yes, I do. But that doesn't mean I had anything to do with this one. Although it made me think of you could have a papoose holder for small children that you would mount to the wall. So the papoose isn't actually hanging on the wall. It's being mounted to the wall.
So you just hang your kids up on the wall?
No. They're supported from the bottom, actually. And you would just take out the papoose in the morning.
Jimmy,
or after their nap.
Ryan, you're going to get on the wall. I'll put you on the wall.
Time to get your papoose.
Yep. And then if they're being naughty, you just turn the papoose around and have them facing the wall.
You want to stare at the wall, Jimmy? Because this is what we're going to do.
This will work good in a corner of a room.
That seems like a more specialized version of a papoose mount, and I don't know if that's... We don't have any designs for that right now.
We need an engineer for that.
Yeah. I mean, if they're small enough, then maybe you could actually have more than one papoose in a corner. You just like one above the other.
Stack them.
Yeah. With their own individual mounts. We're not monsters here.
I am so glad that none of us have children. I can just imagine going over to Alex's house. Oh, how you doing? Where are the kids? Oh, they're mounted on the wall.
Oh, that's good.
You know how they love hanging from the wall?
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Alex.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm always happy to share.
Kate,
So-
what are your ideas?
So my ideas weren't very specific. And this is all basically based off the time I worked at a school. My first idea to raising children, rearing children, is to be the parent. You are the parent. The child is the child. I have seen so many kids who run their households where they're telling the parents what to do. They're making decisions. They're the ones who have all the power in the relationship. you're the parent. You're not their friend. You're not their buddy. You're not their child. You be the parent. So that's idea number one. Idea number two, be consistent. There has to be consistency. Kids, from what I've gathered, thrive off of consistency. They know like Monday through Friday they go to school, weekends they do this. At 3:30 mom comes home, or at 5:30 mom comes home, or at 6 o'clock mom comes home. Tuesday it's this, Wednesday is that. Consistency is so important. A lot of the kids that I worked with, there wasn't consistency. And that just like made everything more difficult for them to get into a routine. So when they were at school, it was harder for them to start learning because, they didn't get breakfast because, mom didn't come home until 3 o'clock in the morning. So she wasn't up to get them up and going. The older brother had to get them out, and they were out of cereal and there was no milk. So they went to school and they were hungry, and then they weren't really focused in class until lunch. And by lunch, it was like, well, half the day's over. It's really hard to get back on track after you've been off track the whole day. So consistency is super important, especially with younger kids. So be consistent, develop a routine, try to stick to it. And once again, coming from a non parent, I understand parents have shit going on. They still have to live their lives. And some days you have overtime, some days there's meetings, some days there's other shit going on, but you want to be able to let your child know, prepare them for those changes, and not just spring it out on them. We get flat tires, we get stuck in traffic, shit happens, but you just want to keep in the back of your mind to try to be as consistent as possible. Idea number three, remember, kids are kids. They have no concept of other people's struggles and other people's concerns. It's all about them. And it should be all about them. Your kid should not know the finer details of the divorce you're going through, or your dating life, or how shitty work is. It should be all about them. And you should take interest in, like, well, how was your day? Oh, who said what to who? And remember what it was like to be a kid when you were a kid. The drama that was going on in elementary school, yeah, that's nothing now. That's easy shit to deal with compared to like mortgages and taxes and democracy falling apart at the seams. Oh, who borrowed whose pen isn't that big of a deal, but to your kid, that's like headline news. That's some major shit that's going down in their world. So you always want to remember the shit that they're going through is super important to them. And even though it's not major stuff, it is to them. So remember that it really is all about them and their little world. They don't really have that idea of the world around them as of yet. And then my last idea is to keep them busy. In high school, I was so busy. I went to an academic high school. You had to like pass a test to get into. All of the classes were like a little bit harder. So I had a lot of classwork. And then I was playing 3 sports. And then I had my martial arts. When I got home, it was homework, dinner. Then I had my free time. Then it was bed, wake up, school, sports, homework, dinner, free time. There wasn't a lot of time for me to get into trouble. I got into my trouble on the weekends, which was plenty of time for me to get into enough trouble, but I've run into kids who were like, oh yeah, we used to go into the woods and have keggers on a Wednesday night. It's like, how the hell did you get to go in the woods on a Wednesday night and have a kegger after school? Didn't you have homework? Didn't you have class? Didn't you have sports? Didn't you have karate? And they didn't. They had nothing to do. So keggers Wednesday nights and got into trouble and did whatever the hell they did. If you keep them busy, there's a less likelihood of them getting into trouble you don't want them in. And also, like, if you're putting them in sports, if you're putting them in clubs, if you're putting them in groups, it also helps with their socialization. It helps them meet new people. It gives them a better sense of who they are, what they like, what they don't like. So, yeah, keep them busy. And those are my ideas.
Thanks, Kate.
You're welcome.
So, for my pilings for Kate's ideas, your first idea, establishing the parent-child relationship and that the parent is the parent and the child is the child. I believe having healthy roles for that is a good idea. I also believe that there should be some, it doesn't always have to be the parent, like, doesn't always have to be like, I'm the parent type of role, always hovering over you all the time. It could also be some give and take with that as well, which is also could be healthy too. So I'm going to put it in the good ideas pile, but just for like maybe not all the time parent. You know what I mean?
When I'm saying like you're the parent, it doesn't mean you're a dominating parent. Like you can still be on good terms with your parent and still have them be your parent. And you still might have choices of what's going on in the household, but what they say is the final say because they're paying the bills and they gave birth to you and they brought you into this world and they can take you out.
All right. So then with that speech, yeah, good idea.
Thank you.
All right. So then for your second idea, be consistent. I will also put this in the good ideas pile. I'm going to say that schedules are great. For me, it was, you go to school, go home, do homework, go to dance. And I did that every day. And I was a relatively happy person. Also, when you keep people on a schedule, at least for me, my digestion works better. You eat the same time every day. You kind of know what your schedule is. No surprises. Schedules are great. Keep consistency. I like it. For your third idea, let the kids be kids and let them go through their drama. I'm going to put this in the ideas pile just because it is drama, but also on the other side, it was just a pencil too. But sometimes too much drama isn't always the best thing. Sometimes you need to realize it's not that dramatic in the long run.
The idea is mostly that you're keeping your personal drama out of your kid's life. Do you have that shitty coworker who's nothing but a dickhead, and you come home, you're not going to go, oh, I can't believe Jonesy screwed me again on my TPS reports. What an awful day. Oh, you kids don't know how lucky you have it. You don't have to deal with these dickwads, and your a-hole father hasn't paid child support. And
I will agree with you that that should not be framed in that way. I think that being able to discuss those types of issues and why they are frustrating, maybe without the negative connotation, extreme negative connotation to it, with a healthy discussion, might be beneficial for some kids if they understand why there's frustration involved. So, I mean, I'm just going to put this in the good ideas. I mean, the ideas pile for now, but it's leaning towards good.
Okay.
And then for your last idea is keep the kids busy and away from keggers.
I didn't say keep them away from keggers. I'm just saying.
Oh, I heard the keggers part, and I focus on
busy,
keggers.
they tend to stay away from keggers.
Okay, keep them busy, and they'll hopefully they might stay away from keggers.
Or they'll learn really good scheduling skills and multitasking skills that they'll go to the kegger and also study for that algebra test they have the next day.
And as a extremely busy person on a day-to-day basis, I say this is a fabulous idea because keep yourself busy. Woo, busy. Good ideas.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kate.
Oh no, thank you.
I guess I'm up to judge your ideas, quotation marks. All right, so for your first one, to make sure the parenting control the kid knows his place, it's a good idea for me. Got to keep them in line. The moment they try and think they've got a leg up in the relationship, they're going to walk all over you, and you got to keep them in line. So this is a good idea. No questions asked. You got to make sure they know who is boss at all times. I mean, hell, punish them sometimes for no good reason, just so they know they can still be punished no matter what.
Just start screaming randomly and
Yeah.
be like, you know what you did.
Start throwing slippers at their head.
Slippers.
Yeah.
How many slippers? Just 2?
No, just one.
Just one.
And do it while they're not looking, and then run away before they notice who does it. Just keep them on their toes. Keep them on their toes so they never know what to expect.
This is things that we're expecting to live with Alex when we're living with Alex.
Yes. And then you go into the room after throwing the slipper at their head and get mad at them because they had your slipper and you're looking for it.
What are you doing with my slipper? Great.
Exactly. So yeah, good idea. Great idea. No complaints from here. Now for your second idea for consistency, I'm going to stick this one on the ideas pile because too much consistency, too much routine, even a little bit of it they still can't deal with they can't deal with when something weird comes up. So not that a routine is bad, because I think a routine is good, but if you have too much routine, you don't know how to deal with when things go awry, when you have to learn to be flexible at times. Yes, I know you mentioned sometimes flat tires happen, sometimes you have unexpected things, but no, you got to flip a switch one day and just turn everything around. Because remember, you're the parent, you're in control, you tell them what you can have to do. So you're just basically saying, nope, today, instead of having burgers, we're gonna do the laundry, and then I'm gonna have you go hunting out in the back for glow bugs that we're gonna make into something. Just really throw their day for a loop.
Bugs?
Yeah, like the lightning
glow bugs.
I just thought it was a word that came into my head. I know it's not true.
So wait, now do you call them fireflies or lightning bugs?
Fireflies is what you usually call them.
Wow, I'm a lightning bug kind of gal.
You would be.
Me too. I was never a glow bugger.
No,
yeah.
I never called them glow bugs.
Yeah. Actually, glow bugs, wasn't that like there was a toy when you were a kid that
yes.
had yes.
Oh yeah.
Glowworms.
I tortured my poor father with that damn piece of plastic. He would have to sit there and hold it up for 5 minutes so it would glow right before I would go to bed.
And that's why he should have been the parent and just basically said, fine, it's not glowing, you're not getting it, and walked out there.
Yeah, no.
Exactly. For your third idea, focusing on the child and their drama and their day-to-day stuff, completely in the bad ideas pile. Nothing wrong with them talking about their drama and things going on, but sometimes I need to vent, and the only one there is the child. They need to learn that their problems aren't as bad because my shit is much worse. It puts things in perspective. And then they realize, man, little Jimmy stole my pencil. Maybe it's not so bad because, I'm not getting audited. Or, I had to lose a foot because of diabetes. There's perspective. And I think it's good to learn that perspective. So just focusing on that, no, bad idea. Because then if you can't even vent to your kids, who else can you vent to? With, families there to support each other. They need to have their drama put into perspective so they understand when things are really bad. They know they're really bad. And when things aren't so bad, they can go, you know what? It could be so much worse. That's all. And when things are really good, they know when things are really good. Like, oh my God, I just got a promotion. Oh my God, I just got a bonus. Here's $5,000. We can go buy a puppy. Versus, other things like, yeah, I found $1 bill on the ground. That's great. But I got more. So, puts that in perspective too. It's not always about putting the bad in perspective.
So you would poo-poo on a child that found $1.
I didn't poo-poo. I said, that's great, but I can get better.
I have 5,000 right here. You just got this crummy. Why did you even bend over? It wasn't even worth picking up. Stupid child with your inexperiences of life.
Picking up things.
Picking up dollars.
Yeah, but that also shows the hard work. But yes, you took the words right out of my mouth. Last but not least, your idea of keeping them away from keggers.
I did not say keep them away from keggers.
That's all I heard. All I heard was you were trying to keep them away from keggers.
I had my fair share of keggers underage. It was hard to discipline.
Look,
Disney Kate stickers. Keep away from kids.
Kids, not keggers. Or keggers, not kids. That's a sticker.
There you go. But still, your idea of keeping them busy, I'm going to put this in the ideas pile. Because if you're just sticking them in whatever club or sports activity, they're never gonna develop their own interest. It's got to be organic. Because this happened to my nephew. He was in football, basketball. He did all these things. Didn't really like it until he eventually found his own way and joined a bowling team. So, but if you're always tossing anything, he can never really get an option to do it themselves. So letting it organically happen is a little bit better. I like that idea more, and just letting them find their own interest rather than just jamming them into something that when it may not fit them best.
Well, you kind of have to jam them into something just so they know if they like it or not. Like, I would have never known I liked softball unless if I didn't sign up for softball. Like, I would have never known my pure hatred for soccer unless if I was put into soccer. So it's like a trial and error.
I would disagree. I hate softball and I've never played it. There you go. I've already invalidated. I've already invalidated your argument. I can speak louder.
You're not a child. You're an adult. You already know what you like and dislike. You know what softball is.
Mm-hmm.
You know the mechanics. You know it's like baseball with a bigger ball and smaller bases
and underhand
weirder stealing rules. A kid doesn't know that.
Oh, a kid knows that. They're literally out of the womb going, I hate softball. This is weird. Why are we playing this?
Now we're going to get into some fights now. Coming at me at my softball. Yeah. How dare you, sir? How dare you? You go back into your wall-mounted papoose and you think about what you said.
I'm going to turn you around.
And you turn me around towards the wall. You're going into your punishment pose in your papoose. In your wall-mounted papoose.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Well, we can't have wall-mounted papooses. And on that note, that's all my reviews of your ideas.
Thanks, Alex. Before we wrap up this episode, I just want to give a shout out to my parents.
Go Kate's parents.
Woo!
Yay, Kate's parents.
Thanks for raising me. Look at me now, Ma. I'm a big podcaster. But yeah, thanks for listening. You can catch us on iTunes, Spotify. We're now on Pandora. Most podcast listening platforms. If you're listening to podcasts and we're not on that platform, shoot us an email and let us know at ideasalldaypodcast@gmail.com. We have a Facebook. We got a YouTube. We are on Instagram at Ideas All Day Podcast. So if you have any... But yeah, thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. We love you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.